Let's talk about China.
Yeah.
I got this meme, guys. I got this meme.
Oh,
It's actually just a news article. Technically the truth. China's state media mocked the U.S. withdrawal in Afghanistan, saying the Taliban takeover was, quote, more smooth than the presidential transition into the U.S.
That's true.
I just got to say, in terms of roasting and trolling, China, wow, that's an Emmy right there. That's a smack in the face to the U.S. That was a good troll. It's kind of sad, though, isn't it?
They're right. I mean, domestically, they're right for domestic news media.
It gets worse. In a statement from the Global Times, which is Chinese state media, basically the mouthpiece of the Chinese Communist Party, from what happened in Afghanistan, those in Taiwan should perceive that once a war breaks out in the Straits, the island's defense will collapse in hours and the U.S. military won't come to help. As a result, the DPP will quickly surrender.
Yep.
China didn't say if war breaks out. They said when war breaks out.
Once.
I'm sorry, once a war breaks out. There you go. Once a war breaks out.
So I'm asking you again what I asked earlier. Who in the U.S. has the appetite? Who, as in which political party, which force, which machine, sort of, whether Republicans, Democrats, activists, media, which think tanks, which institution in the U.S. has patience for wars to protect other countries? And especially when there's so many people in the U.S., again, institutions in the U.S. who didn't have the appetite to take on China even on trade, or to take on even Europe on trade. I mean, you have people here who will tell you that if the EU has a 10% tariffs on products coming in from the U.S. to Europe, we shouldn't have the same. We shouldn't, so people aren't even willing
nobody
to...
wants
to
war.
No, but it's worse. People aren't even willing to put up a fight on tariffs to protect jobs and the economy in the U.S.
Right.
Who's gonna say, yeah, I think we need to defend Taiwan? And I think China sees that. It's not just that, the U.S., a government propped up by the U.S. collapsed. I think China is aware of the U.S.
Apathy.
not having the appetite.
Yeah.
It's the apathy of the American people.
War
Correct.
weariness.
Yeah.
There's a difference between war in Afghanistan and Taiwan. I think Afghanistan's a huge mistake. It was just stupid. Iraq was stupid. A lot of things the U.S. does in the Middle East are very, very stupid. Taiwan is an ally, and we have allies in Southeast Asia and in the Pacific. And it's a huge threat if China starts attacking them, and the U.S. would need to defend them. However, I don't think anybody, you're right, has an appetite for war. But I don't think you need to have an appetite for war if you have a president and administration strong enough to just set that boundary that can't be crossed. And I certainly think, as I stated with the Taliban and what we're seeing now, you look at the economic crisis, you look at what did Joe Biden just do? He increased food benefit payments.
Yeah.
SNAP, food stamps,
25%.
Yeah.
Which says two things. One, more money being given out, which is already bad for the escalating inflation. And two, it shows that inflation on food is here to stay. Now they've got to increase it. And they're saying it's because they want to make sure people get more nutrients. Okay, well, then you're just giving more free money away. So people are going to be less incentivized to work. You mean to tell me? I mean, the Taliban certainly noticed the weakness of the Biden administration. But you take a look at what China knows. China's engaged in cyber warfare. They got a great intelligence. They are very powerful. And they're looking at this, and they know exactly what they can and can't do. And right now, I think this statement they're putting out, they're not joking. They're not this is not meant to intimidate or make it or tell the U.S. haha, we're coming. They're saying, no, we're going to do it. And no one's going to stop us because Americans are too apathetic.
Look at the way China cracked down on Hong Kong. And I don't think anyone, speaks up or wants to do anything about it. The reason for it, I don't know. But this is how it is. Maybe it is because of the U.S. was so heavily involved in these two countries over the last 2 decades at a steep cost to the country in terms of soldiers dying or being wounded, and you have families suffering, and people don't even know to what end, to accomplish what. So people just become tired.
It's like a game almost.
Yeah, and I think there's also a different level of patriotism today versus many years ago. I think this also plays into a lot of it. I think a generation or two ago, people were more willing to fight for the country. I think today you have it less. What's the reason? I don't know, but I think this is a factor. So if people don't have the appetite to fight for their country, I'm not saying what people, tweeting for their country. People think that's considered fighting, standing up to Trump, tweeting for the country.
Resist.
Then why would they want to be involved in Taiwan and China? I don't know.
That's why